All right, we're there.
All right.
Awesome.
Can
How you
you,
doing, Coach?
I'm great. How are you?
Good to see you again, man. It's been a long time since we
How you?
saw one another. It's been a few years.
It's been a few years. I mean, probably like 10 years, right?
Yes, that makes me feel old. I graduated May of 13, so we're coming
Okay.
up. Yeah,
Good job.
coming up on
Definitely
more
10
than 10
years.
years. Um, how long have you been at Carmel, including the time that you were an assistant?
2010, 11 was my first year.
Okay, wow. Does it feel like that long since you've been involved with the program? I mean,
It doesn't. It doesn't. I was just thinking, or I was thinking about it. I don't remember if I was talking to Scott or somebody, um, just realizing that I was here as an assistant for 6 years and I've been here longer as a head coach, which definitely seems crazy to me.
well, and
Definitely.
we recently had Coach Hetty on the program, who is now the head coach at the University of Indianapolis for their men's program.
Uh-huh.
And oddly enough, small world, both him and I graduated from UND too, so it was cool to
Okay.
catch up
All
again.
right. He's
Um,
going to do a great job. That's
I'm
what
sure.
they do.
Uh, Recall back, if you would, to your interview with Coach Hetty or talking with him. What does he look for in assistant coaches, and does it apply to you with the staff that you've assembled?
I mean, that's a good question. I very fortunate to say I worked for Scott and um, learned what was important to him in a program and what it took to establish a winning program. And I would say when you're talking about staff, his number one thing is loyalty. You got to trust your workers. You got to trust your assistants, and vice versa. They got to trust you. So
Mm.
I think that the loyalty thing, because you're making a lot of decisions as a coach, and there's a lot of times that not everybody agrees. Whether that's inside the locker room, inside the coach's office, or out in the bleachers, there's going to be times when you have to make decisions that not everybody's on board with, and so that loyalty piece comes into um, really becomes really important when you talk about making a decision and then holding on to that decision as an assistant when you walk out the doors. You know what I mean? Now, I mean, you might not agree with what decision has been made, but sometimes it can put you in a tough situation if you're out in the community talking to people and you're on a losing streak, or after a game you get caught by a parent, and they. So I would say his most important thing for coaches is loyalty. Close second though would be hard work. You got to put in a lot of hard work to be successful and do it the right way. And he kind of led the charge with that. There wasn't anything that he wasn't willing to do, which makes it easier for his staff. If you're working for somebody that works hard, you can always follow him. But find somebody that's lazy and just pointing fingers, I think that can be a little more difficult.
Um, what or who inspired you to become a head coach?
That's I mean I can't pinpoint one person
Mm-hmm.
because I've had a lot of really good coaches in my playing and coaching career.
Mm-hmm.
I would say more so just the game of basketball inspired me, and then being surrounded by some really good people. I mean, starting with my parents and my dad when I was growing up, to pushing me into having a passion for it, and then all the way to, I mean, I coached J.R. Howe at Brownsburg as a middle school player when his dad Jimmy was the head coach at Brownsburg, and then working over in Avon with coaches, and it doesn't honestly even have to be basketball coaches, it's just coaches in general, from strength coaches and football coaches, baseball coaches, any sport. I've just had this thing that really resonates as far as trying to pull a group of people together and trying to strive for a common goal and be successful. So I guess I couldn't say it's been one person, but very fortunate to be alongside a lot of really really good people.
Were you a multi-sport athlete, coach, in
I
your time?
I was I played baseball, basketball, and football.
Okay,
Um,
cool.
I was, I don't know, probably the best at baseball,
Okay,
uh,
all right.
and then just had a passion for basketball. Uh, People thought that I should be putting more time in basketball or in baseball because of wasn't quite the athlete some of the other people were that we play against. But I think that kind of tells you how much I love being around basketball, especially in Indiana. There's just something
Yeah.
about it, especially when you talk about tournament season in March, that makes it really special.
Do you recommend your players like specialize in basketball, or do you encourage them to be multi-sport folks?
I definitely encourage multi-sport.
Okay.
It can be hard. It can be really hard. But for a couple reasons. I mean, obviously, basketball is a skilled sport. Let's face it. You have a hard time getting better if you don't work on it every day. It's a very specialized type of sport. But within the I don't know framework of just competing in general, I believe I really believe that when you play the same sport year round, maybe have the same coach year round, play with the same guys year round, you start to lose some of that competitive fire. It's just my opinion. It just becomes another game. It just becomes another practice. It just becomes another workout where just say we had a baseball kid this year pitch for us as a senior, got cut as a freshman. But his perspective in the locker room and his different experiences that weren't with the team uh, provided a lot of good talking points and just a different energy. Where some of our guys like they do just play basketball and I think they benefit in ways from that, but mentally getting away from it can have its positives for sure. Just maintaining that love to play, and then how do you stay competitive, like really burning desire to win, or be your best if you do it and you do it every day.
Coach Hetty joked that we could do a whole program on this, but what is your advice to sports parents as a
Oh
coach?
boy, that's a good topic and ever
Yeah.
changing. I think it was 2000. I think 1920, right before the season or right in the middle of the season, we did a just kind of a round table with parents and their kids, and on the panel was Billy and Jeff Shepard,
Yeah.
Jimmy Howell and Jr. And then Scott and Luke, just to hear. I mean, the difficulty of coaching a son now these days, and kind of what to look for because they obviously have a different perspective. They're on the sidelines and they're coaching. But just some advice, I guess that uh, I feel like we get caught up in that fear of missing out, afraid to take a break,
Mm-hmm.
and so our kids I feel like are being spread pretty thin when like it doesn't really have to be professionalized at every turn. I think it's being coached too much. I think the game is overcoached, and the kids need to learn how to play, and so that's the beauty of being at Carmel is you get opportunities to go in the gym and teach and coach some open-minded kids that just want to be better. So we're very fortunate to be here and have the kids that we do.
Um, Forgive me, I forget. Do you have children of your own, Coach?
I do. I do.
Okay.
I have my oldest is a freshman at Alabama,
Okay.
and
Wow.
my youngest is an eighth grader at Carmel Middle. She'll be here at the high school next year as a freshman.
Okay. The one in at Alabama, athlete at all or no?
Not an athlete, student, just a
Okay.
student.
Cool.
Yeah.
What are they studying down there?
Nursing, nursing. So
Wonderful.
really good nursing school down there. She likes the South. Just finishing up her first year. Actually, we got to go pick her up next week. So
Okay.
she'll finish up her finals. She survived at least at this point. A whole new world was opened up to her, and she's excited. She did a
Yeah.
really nice job this year.
Yeah. Late April too. How many days are left in the school year for Carmel?
I don't count, Jimmy. I
Oh,
just,
good. Yeah. For you, it's an ongoing process, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's one day ends and the sun comes up and we do it again. I think our last student day is May 23rd.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
and so about a month, 20 some days. But then we'll take that next week is Memorial Day. and we'll take that week off of camps, and then we'll come back and play when we start up June.
And I don't recall having a class with you. Do you have to teach classes with
I
your
do. I
commitment?
do.
Okay. Okay.
I'm the PE department chair, and I
Okay.
teach in the weight room. Have some APC classes, so
Okay.
mainly athletes that get in the weight room during the day.
All right. Good deal. Well, one of the more underappreciated classes I took at UND was fundamentals of officiating, learning,
Okay.
the importance of officials. And people certainly have their opinions of officials at the games and will voice that to them. Do you have any advice to officials who might want to go into covering high school sports?
I mean, we need more. We need more
Right.
young ones. And it is a tough game to officiate, and I
Yeah.
think becoming increasingly more difficult just with the climate of youth sports and the pressure that parents have on kids, and now you have social media where everything is amplified. So
That's true.
I just I think it's one of those things that parents have to be all in.
Um, how do you handle social media as a coach? It's kind of hard to monitor all the time, but are there any
Yeah,
rules with the program?
I don't have specific rules. I mean, we have just a couple rules in our program, and it really comes down to represent yourself, your family, and in our program in the most positive way that you can. And along that rule becomes a lot of expectations. So
Yeah.
that would include social media. It's our kids have so much access to it now. Um, you I think we miss the boat if we're not teaching them how to use it. It can be a very positive thing for them and their careers, whether that's as an athlete or a student or in the workforce. They can use it in a lot of positive ways, but I
Hmm.
think it's kind of our job to teach them what that looks like, and that includes being part of a team. Um, so
Yeah.
yeah, I think the teaching part is really important.
Um, well, and I've certainly sported the long hair for a while. Do you have any
Uh-huh.
rules for like grooming and haircuts with the team?
If you I do, if you have to mess with it, if it is
Right.
distracting you from playing. So I'm sure if you took your headphones off, your hair would be flying,
Yeah.
and if you were running, you'd probably have to get it out of your eyes. And no, we don't have I mean, you have to look presentable. You have to look
Okay.
clean.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be shaved down, but you can't be flipping it out of your eyes every 30 seconds.
Good deal. That's a good rule of thumb. Thinking back to your playing days, what was your free throw routine?
Routine.
Yeah.
Man, I don't. I think it changed all the time.
Okay, that's fair.
Like I'm not a superstitious person at all. I try not to be. So I'm almost the type of person that would change it up on purpose just
Right.
so I'm not stuck in a routine. The routine bothers me.
Yeah.
So if I were to make a couple, then probably kind of do the same thing. But um,
Okay.
it wasn't anything set in stone.
Something I can recall as a young broadcaster was going to training camp with the football team at Carmel Stadium, and to simulate crowd noise, they had loud music. Is that something you try to do to simulate crowd noise at the line?
We have when when we won the state championship in I think it was 2019. That year for the semi-state, we were going to be playing at Lafayette Jeff.
Yeah.
Um, and the game before us was Culver and Newcastle. So Newcastle had Mason Gillis and that group, and then
Wow.
Culver had Trey Galloway and that group. Uh, and it was an incredible. So we knew, and then we played South Bend Riley, who was undefeated that night. My point being, we knew it was going to be a packed house. It was going to be really, and it gets really, really loud in there. And so being able to practice communicating over the loud crowd noise becomes important. And if it's not anything you've heard before, been in, practicing those types of situations can be beneficial.
Yeah. Um, Braden Smith is the pride of Westfield.
Mm-hmm.
I always think of him when I think of like North Side players that have been successful.
Mm-hmm.
Um, should college coaches be caught up in the number of stars that a recruit has, or be more concerned about how they play the game?
I would hope they would do their homework,
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
because the stars are, uh, who knows who's putting that star on that player, like who decided that they were a 4-star player, who, I mean, who determines that? And I mean, what their strengths are may not correlate to the way you play,
right.
and so I I don't think you can put a whole lot of stock into it. Obviously it means something. It gives you a good idea of where the players are, but at the end of the day, you gotta know who you're recruiting. and and
Yeah,
and
good deal.
and I think if they do their homework and they get them from the right programs, they're gonna be pretty happy anyway.
Um, Something that would have drawn me away from competitive sports, and I'm just being honest, is I'm not somebody that likes to get yelled at. Are you a yelling coach?
I I can be. I'm trying to get better.
Okay. Yeah.
Just naturally, it's kind of been my personality. There are a lot of times I'm not proud of it, and honestly, it is something that I've tried to be more intentional about this year.
Okay.
Tried
Good.
to, I think, figuring a way to um, communicate a message without making somebody feel a certain way is it's an art. It's hard to do, um,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially in intense situations. So it's a maturity that I'm working on. I would say I'm better today than I was at this time last year.
Good deal. Serenity now. Do that when in doubt. Um. Uh. Is there any rules like when the players grab the aux cord? Is there any songs that are off limits, or is it whatever they want to play?
I when I'm in there and they're in there, we listen to my music.
Okay. Cool.
when when they're in there, pregame type stuff, I usually stay out of there until it's time to go talk pregame or something, and then they'll shut it off. So that's been the rule. If we're in practice and I'm in there, then I'm gonna play my music. If
Yeah.
we're in the locker room, it's gonna be this. And they don't like it. I wouldn't say they
Oh,
like all my
okay.
music.
Well, you told me you listed everything. I mean, what would be on the playlist if we went through it?
And I mean, I can listen to Bon Jovi and
Okay.
um, Eagles, and I can listen to AC/DC and Ozzy Osbourne.
Okay.
I can listen to some rap, some Tupac and some Dre,
There you
some
go.
of the older rappers. I can listen to country music. I can listen to Christian music. I can listen to just about anything.
Good deal. Um, Best live concert you've been to that you can recall?
Um, Tim McGraw was really good.
Yeah, he was here recently too.
Yeah, but and I went, it was like, man, I think it was 2022 or 20, I mean, sorry, it was 2002. It was
Oh
back
wow.
in the day. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And Faith was still playing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was, yeah, he's always been one of my favorites. So that was a pretty cool one to be at.
He was rocking a Caitlin Clark jersey at
Uh-huh.
his most recent concert here. And being a basketball coach, what's your opinion on the whole Caitlin Clark story and her being with the Fever now?
That's incredible. I
Yeah.
mean, what a boost for women's basketball. You saw it in the college game and the attention that she generated, and along with the players at LSU and South Carolina. But I think that's really exciting for the women's game. I think it'll be really exciting to be in Indianapolis and go to some of those Fever games, watch her play. She's exciting. She's a lot of fun to watch play basketball.
Yeah.
So I think it's awesome. I think it's great, and she's obviously taken full advantage of it. And I'm looking forward to seeing her play here.
Let's see what else. Is there any keys to developing chemistry? I mean, when I was there, it seemed like the starting five had been together since they were, in elementary school. I mean, that's one of the
Uh-huh.
benefits of coaching high school basketball is you do
Uh-huh.
have a cohesion of players together for a
Uh-huh.
long time.
Yeah, and that's just it. We live in society now where phones have been such a big part of our lives, and communication, may like direct communication, maybe a little more less so. And so what I've found is it's harder to get kids to naturally connect.
Mm.
And because if they have any downtime, I think the first habit is to go to their phone. And
Yeah.
and we know that especially in basketball, like being connected on the floor is I mean essential. And so I don't know. I think finding those kids and putting them in positions where they're forced to communicate and rely on each other and come together. And um, I mean, just as an example, last year's team for us was pretty young, maybe not in years, but in experience.
Hmm.
And we went through some really tough games early, played a tough schedule. Um, Started the year 4-9, lost some games we probably shouldn't have, didn't play well in some others, and so brought on a lot of different those challenges. I felt like really bonded our kids together, something that they had been through together and had to rely on each other, and I think that was part of why we were able to turn it around and have a good second half of the season.
Um, Forgive me for not keeping up with it. Is there still a there's still no shot clock in high school basketball, right?
Still
Right?
no shot clock. Still
Okay.
no shot clock.
Would it bother you if they introduced one as a coach?
No, absolutely not. I believe it
Okay.
would help us.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
and we try to do a good job of guarding people. And if there's no shot clock, they can play offense as long as they want.
Right.
And
Yeah.
if they're patient enough, then we can play defense for 2 minutes. So so yeah, I think, and it makes it a little bit more natural, especially at the bigger schools where the talent level is at a point where it could sustain the game wouldn't be affected much other than a couple possessions, especially at the end of quarters.
Um, let's see. I know that coaching is a 24/7, 365 job, but when you do have time to relax, what TV shows are you watching?
Ooh, TV shows. Man, I don't I don't really have any. I really
Uh,
don't.
okay.
I can't tell you. Like I couldn't tell you the last series I watched.
Okay.
I know my girls watch CSI or something, or I don't know what some one of those shows that has like 21 seasons.
Okay, that's cool. Do you have a favorite? There's certainly plenty of like sports related shows. Do you recall any sports related ones that you like?
The Save Last Dance was really good. A
Yeah.
big time Jordan fan, and to
Okay.
see behind the scenes and that run was really cool. He just has a different perspective that I enjoy listening to.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Save the Last Dance series was a lot of fun. I liked it.
Well, since you brought up Michael Jordan, I can't help but ask. In the ultimate debate of MJ versus LeBron, who are you going with out of the two?
To win a series, I'm going with Jordan.
Okay, fair
I
enough.
think LeBron is the most dominant athlete of all time. He's just a physical specimen. But Jordan mentally was on a different level. I would say
Yeah.
Kobe similar to that, but just from uh, I don't know, winner's mentality of doing whatever it takes and being so resilient. Um, I would take a Michael Jordan or even Kobe over
Okay.
LeBron.
Um,
I
my
know you
favorite.
didn't throw Kobe in
Well, Kobe is the he's the Jordan of my era, so it's
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
yeah, easy to put him in there. Um, Reggie Miller was my favorite player growing up. I still get to hear him a little bit on TNT. Who were your favorite players growing up as a kid?
When I grew up,
Yeah.
Jordan,
Oh,
Jordan,
Jordan still. Okay. Yeah,
yeah,
I didn't
Jordan.
know if there was any others besides him. So,
I grew up northern Indiana, so Chicago. I mean, it was easy to root for during the early '90s.
okay.
They were winning a lot, and we weren't close enough to Indianapolis to really uh, to be Pacers fans. Now, when I moved down here uh, when Rick Smits and Reggie and all they made that run in the playoffs, and so rooting like seeing that was really cool to be a part of.
Yeah.
So it's just funny how I don't know. I don't know if it's just in my position or maybe just age, but get to the point where I can't stick with one team. It's I like the way teams play, or I like the way the teams are coached, and then I tend to root for those teams just because I enjoy watching them.
Right. Are you a Pacers fan by proximity now?
I am, and
Okay.
I really like watching this year's teams play.
Yeah.
I mean, we went to a couple games and they play so hard. Uh, I'm excited to see how they do in these playoffs.
That's one question I was gonna ask Coach Hetty, but we didn't get to it. How do you get players to play hard, in your opinion?
I mean, there's not an alternative, right?
Yeah, I mean, you would want five to play at a with an intensity, but
Yeah.
I think that's one of the issues, especially with Indiana fans. They're always
Uh-huh.
wanting players to play harder
Uh-huh.
on the floor when given an
Right.
opportunity. So,
Yeah.
uh,
No, it's definitely hard. And honestly, I think the key is that they don't think there's an alternative. That is the only option. And they typically, I mean, through experience, you find out that kids are going to reach the bar wherever you put it.
okay.
You put it low, they'll do that. If you challenge them and put the bar pretty high, they can do that too.
Um, do you follow a pretty strict diet, Coach?
No, not like I would like to.
Okay. I,
I don't.
you have a
I,
favorite fast food?
um, do you consider Chipotle fast food?
No, I don't. Not
Okay.
in my book, it ain't.
If I had to stop at a drive-through,
Okay,
is that
that's fair.
Wendy's?
Okay,
I
cool.
like the spice. What's your favorite?
I'm going probably McDonald's,
Okay.
for a drive-through kind of
Okay.
thing. So
I lived across the street from a McDonald's when I was little.
wow,
And so the
man.
smell, I think, got to me. Like I could only eat so much McDonald's in my life, and it's not my favorite now.
As far as a local place, only Carmel people will understand this question. Have you had the Big Ugly yet? You completed that challenge.
I have not. I have not. I think I had the miniature version and felt sick when I was done with that one. So I told myself I'm not ready for the big ugly.
Good deal. Let's see. I know that we talked earlier about Coach Hetty and loyalty, and you're certainly in a good spot where you are now at Carmel. But is there
Mhm.
any ambition to work at the college level or do something else?
Yeah, there is. I mean, I think we all aspire to be something better than we currently are. Um, and so if it were the right opportunity, you know what I mean? It would have to be a perfect opportunity and a good fit. Um, just because Carmel is so good. Like
Yeah,
the Carmel basketball job is such a good job. I would not, I'll say this, I would not sacrifice that just to say I'm a college coach. I would like that challenge one day, I think, but I'm not willing to sacrifice what we have here because I do believe it's one of the best jobs there is.
I like to hear that. That's good news. Um, we'll end on a profound one. Best life lessons that you've gathered from being a coach and player.
Man, there isn't anything you can't do. I think that's one that really sticks with me. One that my dad preached a lot. Um, there's a price to pay for everything, um, but but there isn't anything that you can't do. What that time looks like, and or how long it takes to accomplish something, or how much effort or energy you have to put into um, being good at it, or whatever it would take. I think that that resilience, persistence becomes really, really important.
Hmm.
And if you believe it, you can always bet on yourself. You know what I mean? You can always depend. You know that you're always going to show up.
Hmm.
So just believing that there isn't anything you can't do, as long as you're willing to do anything to make that happen, wholeheartedly believe that. And I
Yeah.
think that's a message that a lot of kids need to understand. And if you put your mind to it, there's a good chance you can accomplish it.
Well, Coach, I told Coach Hetty this, and I'll tell you since you were on the staff. That time, that back-to-back run that we had back in the day, one of the coolest experiences of my life, and a real joy that I wish I could experience again because it was
Uh-huh.
awesome.
Well, that's awesome to hear. And I feel the same way. I grew up dreaming of being in a state championship game, and to experience it the way we did with the kids and the school community that we had, I don't think it could have been drawn up any better.
No,
What an
definitely.
exciting time. Awesome time.
Coach, thank you, and we'll do this
Yeah.
again down the road, man. I really
Okay.
appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks a lot. Good to see you.
Folks, to check out this episode and all others, make your way over to linktree.com/JBK on air. You can also donate to the program with the link in the description. Until next time, have a great day and a better tomorrow.